Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone in between and all over the world, it is my distinct pleasure and privilege to welcome you here to a matchup in the Masters Mixed Division as these two teams are battling it out at the bottom of their pool, looking to find that first elusive victory in what has been quite a cutthroat matchup for them so far. I am Lorca Murray and I'm joined by the one, the only
Rachel Dashnirova. Hi, Lorcan.
Hello, Rachel. How are you getting on?
I am getting on. Still battling against the Limerick weather. Changing conditions, no wind, no rain, not too much cold on this Mixed Masters game. How lucky are these teams?
Incredibly lucky given the weather, but if you don't like it, you can just wait 5 minutes as the old Irish adage goes. And it's a really quick turnover from BoD, somewhat surprising, as now Heidees will look to go in the opposite direction. Lots of pressure for Fulberth, but she takes it down calm and confidently. Gets it back into the middle, and they're swinging it around. So Heidi's starting off here with some nice quick passes, not forcing too much. Brandt with the disc in the middle of the pitch. Seeing some running, that's a beautiful break all the way around. So smooth play by Heidies at the start, not trying to force anything yet. Gordillo looks for options, finds one in the middle of the pitch and sends back to Rosh Teuscher and collects it. She's acting as an axis for this offense, spreading it out across the pitch. Jakob floats one far side, and the attempt at towing the line, unfortunately, too far for Gordillo.
Great effort from Gordillo. She kind of knew, I think, that that disc was out of her reach, but regardless, try to stand on that line. She is a big player for German Ultimate. I have played against her several times myself. Painful to defend that woman.
Something that they are going to find out all about as Antoine Lepanol steps up to the plate. He's in that corner. Lots of cutting, lots of hard work. Eventually gets it down the line. Eric Pressot floats it across. So this is nice, relaxed play to open up with. Prescott Gordon puts that slightly behind her receiver. And the Heidees get some short field and an opportunity to get an early break. So picking up Brandt. Brandt surveys, he wants the dump. Good coverage on the initial one for Jakob, but they find relief in the form of Beha. Beha says no to Jakob. Sends it back, and this is good rotation using the full line that they have available to them. Schweitzer Martin sends it back to Beha. Beha pops it along, just about rescued by Schweitzer Martin. Schweitzer Martin, front of the end zone, maybe suffering from end zone eyes. No, good composure. Decides to go with the dump instead. Back to Beha. Beha fakes, pivots, parries, and dumps it back. Jakob with a huge screaming break across to Brandt, looking for the finishing blow. And it eats dirt.
Like you said, Lorcan, the German offense very patient in front of the end zone. Unfortunate throwaway on that last throw, but they have been able to force the Canadians into 2 turnovers so far. So let's hope they can do it again.
Oh, and there's a huge shot coming out of the hands of Prescott Gagnon. Gagnon all the way down the field. That couldn't have been weighted perfectly, and waiting for it, Julie Blas. Front of the end zone. Quick pop back out. This is much improved from BoD. Delille looks to pop it into the middle. So a little jittery at the start here, Rachel.
Yes, it is. I think the players weren't expecting to play in such calm weather, really. And now that the wind is picking up again, I'm afraid we might witness a few more turnovers before this first point ends. And I'm only saying that because I'm hoping for the commentator's curse, of course.
A nice inverted commentator's curse as a huge defensive effort. That wasn't a turnover, that was St. Cyr. Well, we're going to have a little bit of a call. Perhaps getting a bit too physical.
In any case, like you said, Lorcan, at the start, we are in Pool J, which is one of the upper pools for the Mixed Masters division. Currently, the top of the pool are 2 American teams, Slower and Old Number 7. Like we said, the Masters teams really getting a lot of puns on these names as we see the replay of the situation on the field, and a game advisor signaling a contested foul, which will send the disc right back to the thrower.
So Jakob will get another bite at the apple. Jakob pivoting. This is a big, imposing force. Gets it to Beha. Beha. And there was the pick. I was wondering what had happened to get Gordillo so free. Although, I'll be wondering that a lot because Gordillo very difficult to contain, as you were talking about earlier. So let's see Heidees get it back into the middle to Jakob. But a huge amount of downfield movement. They're relying on their throwers, and that is why. Magnificent break to Full Berth. Full Berth just floats that one up a bit too much in the gusty wind, really working against both teams right now. Le Pagnol wastes no time, launches it all the way down the field, and it was always going away from Eric Bressot.
Le Pagnol getting super active for this Canadian offense. He is, after all, the stats leader for BoD with 11 assists so far. And he was attempting another one there. This time, unsuccessful.
Quick shout out to Natasha Dumont-Carey, who is cheering on BoD from back in Quebec. Well, I'm assuming in Quebec, where this team originates. We've got a lot of Quebec teams here with us, and we are delighted to welcome them to Limerick and to WMUCC as we see Heidees looking to move it down the field. It winds up in Jakob, and they really like those inside flick breaks, and there's the commentator's curse. And it doesn't matter, Beha gets huge climbing that ladder and pulling himself down. Something. Gordillo toes the line, tries to get the quick pop, and Heidees were rushing their luck, I believe, in that moment.
Good toe drag on the sideline from Gordillo, but forgot about the Limerick weather, trying to get a quick pop through the break side. Disc is back with BoD.
And an understandable timeout called by Antoine Lepanol. He wants to relax his team. We have had a lot of turnovers so far in this match, and right now maybe just take a breath, and we're going to take a breath as well while we send you to a quick message from our sponsors. And we are back on YouTube for free and commentating this magnificent matchup between BoD and Heidees, the Quebecois from Montreal, taking on Heidees coming out of Germany. Heidees TV, which is short for a word that I will not try to butcher by pronouncing, but they are part of a larger gymnastics club. That's where that name originates. Le Pagnol. Lots of pressure, but it is relieved in the brilliant cutting by Delille. Delille looking for Le Pagnol again. Can't get it. This fantastic dump defense by the Heidees. Ounces, pounds, tons of pressure. And they get the disc back, rewarded for their hard effort. Rustuscher has Beha behind, doesn't want it. Takes it on the second ask. So Beha, and they're being forced back with each collection. He looks for Jakob, can't get him. And instead, he's going to have to float that one up. Big time pressure, but it comes to nothing. Rustuscher stays strong despite Le Pagnol's best attempts to block. And there comes the big lasered flick, but very well read in the waiting hands of Julie Blas. So Le Pagnol with the disc. Doesn't like his options in front of him. Not that there are that many, and then goes for the high release backhand. Very nicely done. St. Cyr back to Le Pagnol. But again, these are just short field cuts with the wind at their back, trying to air it out. And there we go. Françoise Delille, she's off. But so was that pass.
Both teams sticking so far with match defense, putting lots of pressure on the undercuts. Almost every catch is contested. If it does sail over the head of the receiver, there's usually a defender in the way. So players showing they're very much aware of the conditions, being ready to take down anything that is not directly in the hands of the intended receiver.
There's Matthias Brandt, who started off with the disc, immediately centering it and getting it back. So they're under a lot of pressure. He looks to relieve it with a huge huck. Lots of space, but 3 defenders. And it is taken down by Prescott. Prescott scoops it all the way out wide. Eric Pressot. He's got nothing but space with Lepagnol. Lepagnol has to reach up to grab it, pulls it back down. Lepagnol and they are starting to knock on the door. This is better by BoD. Pressot. So there's a violation called. That's going to come in on 3.
Looks like a peg by the hand signals.
Pressot. Nice leading pass into the waiting hands of Lepagnol. Lepagnol goes for a backhand and a score.
Only 12 minutes in, Lorcan. 12 minutes in this first game. Mixed Masters. BoD from Canada finally score over Heidees. They go up 1-0. After multiple turnovers, the team's really assessing the conditions, the field, the opponent. But BoD luckily finally reel it in. Let's have a look at the replay. Lefty backhand into space. Lepagnol looking for the continuation, and then sort of almost a lazy backhand for the score.
That was a tasty dish. That lefty backhand running onto the space. And Yannick St. Cyr, person who's coming home with that opening point 12 minutes into the game. Good timing, and she likes to strike, cut, and lay out on both O and D. So hopefully we can see more of that throughout this game. Interestingly enough, number 22, Eric Pressot, is her husband.
Oh, look at that.
So
another couple.
There's an awful lot of them at this level, but to be understood.
Well, luckily, the Canadian team managed to provide us with that information, because every time you do not provide the information to the commentators, you are subjecting yourself to the possibility that you will be called a grandfather of your spouse.
That's the threat, and we will follow through on it as Heidees look to follow through with some fantastic opening offense. Almost at halfway already. Quick fire, lots of passes. Stowe, he has Shaq out to the right, decides against it, goes back into the middle. And that's Florian Reinhardt, one of the stats leaders for this team. You got to keep your eyes on him. He is going to be all over the pitch. And of course, Mach as well. The two of them have been racking up points on this O-line for Heidees. Mach again. And honestly, it's probably inexperience from BoD, but I would not put his own on those two men working together. Stowe backing them up. Reinhardt looks for Mach. Finds him, he misreads it slightly, gets it behind his own head, goes for the cheeky hammer over the top, and waiting there with open arms, Moritz Kretz.
Mach, the steady handler out of Ars Ludendi Darmstadt. He was also at in the mixed national team for Germany at EUC 2019. His career highlight, however, was exactly that tournament, and also a second place in German nationals. Let's have a look at that high grab. He gets it on the second attempt, and bam, straight into the end zone. It goes over another player together with their defender. But it was actually this wide break pass that opened up the field for the downfield cuts.
I'm not quite sure how Mach was able to get that disc on the second time of asking, but he pulled it off, and no hesitation with that hammer. You can see, I believe that might be as many as his 11th assist so far in this tournament. He has been feeding players in the end zone all week long, and it's only Tuesday.
He was actually second in the overall stats in the entire Mixed Masters division.
and showing you exactly why. So lots of turnovers at that first point. BoD put it away. Flawless hold by Heidees. That's got to be a little bit intimidating. As here come BoD one more time. Rob Gilet. He's got a big cut coming, and he sends the throw. That's Gianni Desrosiers. Oh, it's too far for her. Desrosiers couldn't get onto the end of it. So again, really well set up though. The fake down the break side creates the space, gives you 2/3 of width to throw into. But BoD aren't connecting on these deep shots.
I think they're just, like I said, assessing the conditions. They change all the time, but they were going downwind, so a huck is never a bad option, in my opinion anyway.
Gilet jumps to the line, steals that one, gets it to Rousseau. Rousseau plays it across. This is much better. Bataille. Oh, and that one was dropped. Unfortunate, perhaps a bit too much sauce from Bataille.
This has been the story for many of the games. Not just today, but on the previous days as well, where the last pass into the end zone is just a tad too far or a tad too low for the intended receiver, and Heidees will go the other way.
So let's see if they are able to move this disc all the way up into the wind while it is currently relaxed. There's a lot of space under that throw. And unfortunately, René Hess gets lost in the sauce.
Incredibly trusting put, though. There was a defender, but it was a gender mismatch, so they put it up regardless.
Rousseau pops it back. Bataille sends it into the middle, waiting there's Kubik. Kubik across the Presso. Presso has a nice cut under. That was really well set up and oodles of space for Delille. Delille a very, oh, that one was close. Presso comes away with it, but only just. And then an unfortunate error. As here comes Jakob. You know he loves that inside flick. He's hung it up. It's trailing away the wrong direction, but it's got plenty of time.
What a shot. What a shot by Heidees. Incredible inside shot to René Hess. He read that really nicely, even though it was curving slightly away from him. And that is a hold for Heidees, right?
That is a break.
Oh,
an upwind break.
Hence the celebration. They did what most teams would actually do going downwind. They try to chuck it as far as possible. And let's have a look at that inside break again.
So something that normally happens, once a disc starts to turn away from the player, it gains speed. Somehow once that disc started to turn, that's when it started to hang. Maybe witchcraft.
Magic. It's magic. Well, anything can happen in Ireland, you know. Once you cross that border.
The Irish sea border, you mean, of course. This is a magical land where dreams can come true, no matter who you are, no matter how you feel or what age you may be physically, as long as you believe in your heart and your soul, then you can achieve greatness here on the Emerald Isle. And we welcome over 2,700 athletes and their families to Sunny Sunny Limerick. As here comes BoD, hoping to rectify their mistakes. Tremblay. Looking for options, can't get it off on the first one, still searching, nothing coming immediately available, and a lot of pressure. I would give a lot of credit to Coke for that particular defensive performance. And Jakob was wasting no time with the no pivot backhand break. A spicy play, but one we've come to expect from this German. Has it again, middle of the pitch. Spreading it all the way across, but unfortunately out of the cuticles of his intended receiver.
So Kuka's defense becomes in vain as BoD receive the disc one more time, but give it right back, a few meters out of the end zone.
It does seem like the wind might be on Heidi's side in how it's picking when to invade and when to not. Brandt with the disc, front of the end zone. This is just a classic end zone drill. You know he loves to break the mark. This time just going for something a bit more conservative. Gets it to Beha. Looks it down the line. That's a great grab for the score. Phenomenal play. And taken in by Pair.
Heidi's follow up with a second break in a row. Hence the celebration. great defensive effort, lots of pressure, and then quite decisive, precise cuts on the offense, despite the tight Canadian mark. We'll see a replay on that upline cut. Oh, this is Köke, which was overlooked because Beha was making sure he has holding on to the disc, and here is the high grab.
Big time grab by Per Ton.
From Per.
That is his second goal of the tournament.
A native from Kiel, played for Heidees as well as Copenhagen, and also Red Hook Brooklyn. In terms of national experience, he was on the Danish mixed club KFK. Oh, and his sporting hero is Florian Reinhardt on the Heidees, a total machine. I love it when people have their heroes on their teams. So easy to look up to, so easy to learn from.
I very much agree with that, and especially I look up to Florian Reinhardt, and a lot of people who are chasing him on the stats ladder are forced to look up to him. He has 9 assists, 3 goals so far in this tournament.
Per also has a little confession to make. He is the oldest player on the team. He says, well, there it is.
And there is the reason why he's on the team, getting that big time score with a big time grab. But how can BoD respond? Brilliant work by Jakob, jumping the lane. He laid a trap and sprung it, and now he's put that one up. Will the wind assist? It does! But couldn't corral in the end. David Herman. Watch that one hit the ground. So here come BoD. Wind at their backs, but currently all it is doing is tangling their sails. Can they find their footing in this match? Some quick passes. Kubik into the middle, and again another pop back along to the waiting Gillet. Gillet across the Presso. Presso thinks about the deep shot, turns it off instead. Tries to get the under, but perhaps too casual as it only sails past Prescott Gagnon. Jakob wants it, takes it, sends. They're looking for Herman one more time, but all they're gonna find is number 18, Rob Gillet. Head on a swivel. Great defense. So Gillet just going to walk that one to the front of the end zone, catching his D's. We're quick to admonish people when they don't, so we should praise them when they do. Prescott Gagnon gets that down the line. Still looking, searching. They're getting very cramped. Herman's putting a lot of pressure on Gillet, but Gillet is well accustomed to it. Gillet goes for the inside, taken comfortably, somewhat voraciously even. And there's a nice break. This is much better by BoD. They found St. Cyr. St. Cyr looks for the quick bot back, gets it to Carlton. Carlton is calling, directing traffic, looking for someone. Has Presso, hits Presso. Spreads it wide. This is considerably better by BoD as they shoot to the end zone. That might be perfect. And yes, it is. Great score by Prescott Gagnon.
BoD stay in the game, putting another one to the scoreboard, going up 2-3 to Heidees still with 2 breaks in a row at the start of the game. This was much better from BoD. Even when they lost to this, they applied a lot of defensive pressure, especially Gillis, or else Gillis, downfield. But here is the nice gainer and the continuation into the end zone. Again, that is not an easy way to score over the head of Gordillo, who is a very tight defender for Heidees. But like I said in previous games where we featured some German teams, the Germans do like to play the so-called Dazwischenbleiben, which means that they're trying to stay in between their player and the disc, really putting lots of pressure on undercuts. But of course then it happens from time to time that they underestimate the ability of their opponents to just go over their heads and sometimes straight into the end zone.
Of course, Dazwischengaiden, directly translated, it means the squishy game plan. And I dare anybody to correct me in the chat. Please join us in the YouTube chat, as well as following us through all socials. You can reach out, #WMUCC, as we see a lovely shot all the way down. That is just textbook German efficiency, setting up oodles of space. And they get it to Ton. Ton sets it back. There is Florian. He looks, he sends, he's got Mock. Those are the 2 stats leaders, and that's exactly why. Phenomenal shot, brilliant reception.
Now that is what I call a clean offensive hold. 3 passes, was it, Lorcan? I don't think it was much more.
Well, Florian Reinhardt does not need much more than that to find a look he likes, and Mach knows exactly where to put himself to be on the receiving end of these opportunities.
I think these are exactly the passes that most of the teams are attempting when going downwind, but very few can actually get them down in such precision and with the right rotation to make it so easy for the receiver to catch them.
The true greats make it look easy, and that is something that Reinhardt does regularly. Frustratingly even, if you're BoD.
I agree. Of course, both these teams finished second in their respective pools. I believe Heidees were surpassed in their pool only by Long Donkeys from South Africa, who were featured on the stream earlier this week. And BoD were right behind SOS from the US.
So very competitive pools to come out of. And a big shout out to Long Donkeys. I don't think anybody saw them coming or expected them to top their group, but they have been surprising people all week long, and it'll be very exciting to see how they perform going down. As Presso with the disc. Presso thinks about the hawk. Instead hits the under. That was much better taken by Kubik. Kubik spreads it wide, and this is nice interplay by BoD. This is the most competent and confident their offense has. Look, there's the shot to Presso. He's right on the end zone line. Doesn't want Kubik. Instead, gets it to the corner and the comfortable score.
And as Battaglia signals the point, we would like to take this opportunity to wish him happy birthday from the fans at home as well as his own teammates on the field. Happy birthday. I would love to be able to say that in French as well, but since I can't, I'm just gonna give you a vše nejlepší k narozeninám in my own native language.
Bon an? No, that just means good year. You like tires? No, very much a happy birthday, and a great score in the front corner by Francois Delille. So that's the exact response BoD needed. Because the real difference between their offensive holds and Heidees so far was Heidees hadn't turned it over. BoD have now got a flawless O in their pocket and the knowledge that they can cut through this Heidees defense if they put the work in.
Delille, 40 years of age, won Worlds in 2016 with Vintage.
There's actually a few players on the BoD side who won Masters Worlds in Lecco back in, I believe it was Masters Women's Worlds back in 2014.
Yeah.
So there's lots of experience, lots of championship caliber on this BoD side, but Heidees are so tight-knit. They know each other so well. Yes, they have their talismans, but everyone is a part of a big system that works together, works for each other, is Mach. Cross, and there's Mach again. Now he's looking to shoot deep. This time to Reinhardt. They just swap positions. They're so versatile, they're so deadly. Reinhardt on the front of the end zone. And they call the timeout. Understandable. I don't know, I feel like he must have surveyed what was going on, because it looked like they were in a pretty strong position there.
You know what? We will see if this timeout turns into a turnout. And if you want to know more, join us after the quick break.
And welcome back, everybody. And we are straight back into the action. Reinhardt doesn't want to waste any time. He gets it to Mock in the middle of the pitch. Mock looking for options. Gets one beautiful shot to the end zone and comfortably taken in. Yes, for the score.
Heidees extend their lead to 5-3 as we get some nice French lessons in the chat on the YouTube channel. Everyone, please feel free to join in the discussion. We have now learned that joyeux anniversaire or bonne fête.
Bonne fête, it's probably easier to say.
Probably easier to say, yes, if you're unsure about the pronunciation of written French.
Another look at this lovely pass from Mock. Really well taken in by Kinga Iglesi. So yes, these are French-Canadian lessons, I believe.
That's true, you never know.
And I also want to apologize for saying Rob Gillis's name incorrectly. Just going with what I would have assumed was the French one. But thank you again, and that's why we love having this chat. We love having people join in with us.
Just to see, we just have a cute little video of a little guy playing the sport we don't want to see him playing.
Need to get a disc in that boy's hands as soon as possible. Just to respond to the chat as well, Old 7 beat Heidees. The stats haven't come through to us yet, so we don't know exactly by how much. Remember, you can check out all the results as they're updated yourself on results.wfdf.sport. As here come BoD one more time, and they need to keep this pressure up. They need to keep scoring these downwind O's as often as possible. Get it back to Gay. Gay. Presso. Presso. Back to Gay. Doesn't like what he sees. And unfortunately, the wind just decided to whip up and push that one down. Gillis couldn't get to it in time. Heidi's with an opportunity for an upwind break. And not too much field to work it through. Now, was that maybe Beha getting a bit too fancy for his own good and air bounced it into the elements? Again, feeling their way out, you reckon, Rachel?
Honestly, I think that's more of a feature of junior championships, where the air bounce is a frequent throw beloved by the teenagers. But it likes to make an appearance once in a while in the Masters division as well, apparently.
I'm still a pretty big fan of it. Espresso pass it to Prescott Gagnon. Gagnon across and into the middle. Waiting there is Gillis. Gillis thinks about the break, instead goes for the open, and it ricochets off the bidding hands of his receiver. Great effort.
On the other side, I would like to point out some great field positioning and throws by BoD's Rose Carlton, who I think is making sure on every throw that she's really putting the right spin on it. You will not see her being lazy on those throws, and she also seems to always be in a good position to actually get a pass.
An invaluable skill at this level and in these conditions. Herman's underneath that. He gets taken out. Oh! And that is an unfortunate one. These kinds of things can happen in a competitive sport with a hanging disc. We will, of course, check on her to make sure she is okay. And in the meantime, we can take you through a little bit more of what is happening in the rest of this pool. So right now, Heidees did lose to Old 7 earlier on. BoD did lose to Slower. Who beat BoD 15-10, which, if you know who Slower are, the Slow Whites alumni. So very established mixed team and a lot of real veteran presence. To go down 15-10 to them really shows the ability BoD have and speaks to the ambition that lies at their heart.
We have overall 33 teams in the Mixed Masters division. Top 5 spots currently occupied by US teams. Mixed Masters started off in 8 initial pools, 8 to H. And after 3 days of playing, we're now moving on to the 4 upper and 4 lower pools, J to Q, before heading to the bracket. In case you were interested, Heidees were advancing from Pool G and were initially seeded 10th. BoD coming in from Pool C, seeded initially 20th.
So BoD really punching above their weight. As we can see, another look at the foul call. I think that's pretty undeniably a foul on Herman. As that disc is going back. So Martin Jacob Just discussing, trying to work out with his handlers where they should be. There's Fáilte Martin to one side of him, Beha to the other. Those are weapons. He goes to Fáilte Martin. Bit of float. That's going to be a tough one to keep in. And BoD get the benefit of the short field. So can they capitalize and keep this pressure up? Jogging to the disc is Gillis. Sideline. He's in. Gillis immediately cutting for him. Oh, and unfortunately overshooting. St. Cyr is so lethal in the front of that end zone. I was assuming he'd just stay locked in on her. Tried to get it to Gay, as now we see Heidi's looking to come the other way. Beha. The sun really starting to batter down. For the next 5 minutes at least, Fáilte Martin. Doesn't like her first few options. Gets it to Beha in the middle. This is much better defense by BoD. They're really limiting where Heidees can go. And there's the double bobble, double trouble. And stealing in to knock that one away was Frederick Gay. So now one more time we see Rob Gillis, this on the opposite sideline. Now the near one. Who else but St. Cyr makes the opening cut and gets to the front corner for the score.
And she gets a hug too, straight away. That was a lovely set play. I think that must have been rehearsed. The player just continues the cut to the open side until the defender has practically no space to surpass her. And here we see the continuation hug.
You rarely see the continuation hug at this level, and it's not utilized nearly enough. Something else that I think isn't being utilized quite enough yet for BoD is the wonderful St. Cyr. She is near unstoppable so far in this game, seeming to get free at will. So quick, so dedicated, keeps cutting. A lot of times is their first option, and is going to be key to them fighting their way back into this game.
So again, great defensive effort from BoD to fight back for the disc and making sure they keep scoring downwind to stay close and maybe hopefully attack from behind when the time is right. We're 37 minutes into this game. Time cap is at 100. Plenty of time to go. It seems like it will be a tight game. And of course, let us know in the chat if you would like it to be a tight game or if you would just prefer one team or the other to roll over their opponent.
Now BoD with a big, powerful pull. Plenty of float, and that's going to land in and around the brick mark. And Heidees looking to attack back quickly. Get it to Reinhardt. Reinhardt has to get low to grab it. Across to Mock. Mock pops it down the line to Stowe. Stowe sees Reinhardt again, and it's a very unenviable task having to try and mark Reinhardt out of it. And it's, as you can see, the switch to match defense now called by BoD. They're trying to zone out to see if it could reap any rewards. They've decided it wasn't worth the risk. Reinhardt now thinks about it, goes for it. He didn't think about it for that long, and that's why certainty comes from experience. Beautiful hammer.
Incredible effort from Reinhardt, who managed to throw that hammer throw over his tall mark, which was number 11, Timmins. And a low grab, but surely a safe one. Yep, right into the basket.
You got to get your body behind those kinds of grabs, or they are going to do some serious damage.
So we saw Stove for Heidees featured in the handler trio. 36 years of age, but originally from Lansing, Michigan. Current city, Philadelphia. He's a research scientist who started in 2004, has played on Denver Sweet Action, and is now joining Ars Ludende in Darmstadt. And he says he's a lot of fun at parties.
Well, we'll have to see when he comes to King John's Castle at the end of the week. That's right. The party tournament, or the tournament party, is in a castle. That's how we like to do it here in Limerick. And a quick shout out, of course, to Moritz Kretz with his second goal of the game, the man who caught that hammer. opened his basket and took the damage. Gillis gets it down the line. Vervey, Gay, back to Gillis, and this was beautiful flow until I decided to curse it.
I believe that was a hex offense that we saw from BoD there, or else something that looked kind of like it. It appeared like they isolated a person in the middle. That person got the disc, dribbled it off the handlers, almost all the way to the end zone. Heidees go the other way.
In the hands of Beha. Beha spreads that around. Gardillo. Just overshooting their intended receiver. The disc bopping up. So Gillis will get another look. He surveys. He supposes. And he goes for the dump instead. Gay. And across, a nice sweeping backhand comfortably into the hands of Dalil, and Dalil pops it in for the score to Vervey. Verveit, I believe I should say.
Dalil, 40 years of age, 12 years of playing. She's a translator, like my mom. She started playing.
She's your mother?
Almost, practically my mother, yes. We'll see her assist one more time as she gets the pass in the middle. Looks to the open side, but then goes towards the front of the end zone.
Great continuation play by Dylan.
For Vervet.
That's such an important aspect of continuation as well, because it was a lot of her movement. Great pass to get it to her, but her movement really pulled all of the defense over to that side. One quick fake and you can just completely sell them. Turns around, takes the open shot to Verveit.
So Vervet, 36 years of age. He's been coaching at college and university level, and we would like to say hi to his family, who's surely watching, his brother and sister and parents, as well as close friend and possibly all his students.
Well, big shout out to all the students at home. As here it comes, and it's going to arc out. I do believe that Phil Poitras is unavailable for this game, unfortunately, for the fans at home who are looking to cheer for him.
Oh, you're getting compliments on your German, Lorcan.
That has to be sarcastic.
Danke, Tobias.
Reinhardt. Sends it across. That's a beautiful screaming backhand. All the way down the line by Agresi. Back into Reinhardt in the middle of the pitch. And he spreads that disc around like butter on toast.
Pick will stop the play, but it seems like Heidees will keep possession.
No, it's going to stay in the hands of Ton as well, not going back. So he is right on the edge of the end zone. About 10 meters out. Using the metric system here at WMUCC.
Luckily for you, the Irish can do both, meters and yards.
It's mostly because whenever we use either one of them, we're just estimating. I don't really have a true scale for what either of those things are.
Very nice weather for this game so far. Absolutely no rain. Different strengths of wind, I would say.
Blustery, not quite as blustery as it would be in the bowl, which kind of causes wind to swirl, where we were for the first 3 days of the tournament. We're now out here on fields 2 and 3, bringing you 2 fields of action. So, if you don't enjoy our show, you can always go across to the opposite field. Although I don't know why you would, as here comes the action. Ton back into the middle, and the swing was shut off. That was really nice defense. I thought for sure Heidees were going to continue. There goes the pop down the line, and a turnover. Great defense by BoD on their own end zone line. Lepanon gets it down the line to Saint-Jean-Timin. Timin searching. Eventually he finds the form of Vavroch. Vavroch was cutting under. She has Timmins go down the line, and acres of space to put that around into. Really well taken by Roy. And gets it back again. Roy. And this is better. Timmins, and brilliant work by Reinhardt to shut down that swing. And this is BoD making their first real dangerous effort to get an upwind break. And that could change this whole game around. Lepagnol, that stall count has to be getting high as Timmins to his left eventually gets it to a huge layout block. Reinhardt denies.
Incredible matchup between Reinhardt and Timmins. I really like to watch them play. Timmins, of course, with the height advantage, but Reinhardt making up for it with his energy.
Mock now gets it back to Reinhardt. Reinhardt doesn't stop. You're talking about energy. Look at the dirt on his shirt. But there's none on his shoulders. Just the rest of this team as he is carrying them. Ton down the line, well taken in. Mock front of the end zone. Goes for the quick pop over the top. Gets it in comfortably in the end.
How did that reach the receiver? That throw was wobbly as a three-legged chair.
But Agressi showing the balance to stay solid and get the score.
Very good effort from BoD. They were getting very close to that upwind break, but Heidees do keep their heads cool and get the defense eventually and bring it all the way to the end zone. In the meantime, we're getting more lessons on the pronunciation in the YouTube chat. For what will be the correct pronunciation?
So the thing I seem to be learning over time is that French Canadians actually do pronounce the end of their words, which is, with my experience of the French, not common as we take another look at that stellar layout block.
In fairness, there is Suzanne who thinks that her, on the Canadian team, who thinks that her name is pronounced Wave Rock. But in fairness, that is a Slavic name and 100% should be pronounced Vavroch. So just feel free to take that hint. Go back to your roots.
Go back to your Slavic roots.
Educate your family.
Do you enjoy potato-based pancakes? As that disc rolls around back to the middle. Well taken in. So we see Pressot picks it up. Pressot into the middle, but pops up. Initially, St. Cyr's there to clean up the mess. Pops it along to Gillis. Gillis looks, doesn't really like what he sees. Instead goes down the line. Huge bid by Pressot. He's willing to lose some limbs, maybe a couple of ribs over this game.
Lovely step around by Gillis. But again, going in that direction, that disc is going to get pushed down. But a great save, unaware defender, lets the disc go to the Germans.
And that one's really well taken in. Again, the Germans are starting to work down the field. Shack launches a blade of her own. And, you know, once you get away with 2 throws, maybe go conservative for the 3rd. That's not how Heidees play. These are some risky gymnasts we're seeing out here on the pitch.
It actually is. I think this was an exception.
Gillis. Gillis thinks, but not for too long before launching one. But I think that's going to drop before the rather speedy Kubik can get on the other end.
Kubik, a frequent target for BoD downfield.
3-legged chairs are allegedly pretty stable. That's if they're a stool. If it's designed to be 3-legged, sure, but a 4-legged chair missing a leg.
There is only that many metaphors I can come up with.
As that one is going to be called out and immediately agreed to. Very fair. Great work on the defensive end by Pressot to put a lot of pressure on that.
But good read by Jakob nonetheless.
So Pressot searching, not really liking what he sees, but it's this great dump defense that Heidees have been imposing all game long. He goes with a big arcing hammer, and that one might be going over to the construction site behind those trees before it finds a receiver.
It went directly into the wind, but it seems like it won't matter as a stall out is called on the sideline.
What is Dees? Well, it's the number you get stalled out on, at the very least. Interesting, you want it from the sideline about 10 meters up. I'd almost want it in the middle of the pitch, 10 meters back. So let's see how BoD respond. They need to clamp down. They cannot let Heidees take half with this point. Reinhardt searching, eventually gets it back into the middle. Waiting there for Schweitzer Martins. Schweitzer Martins has been so crucial for keeping possession for Heidees. several times. Jakob launches that one. It's hanging, it's wandering, it's out of here.
I think Jakob has really taken a lot from his long-standing presence in German Ultimate. He started in U20s, continued to U23s, and then played for Germany Open. And I feel like he's taken some of his throws from the juniors division, really.
As here come BoD one more time. Gillis, I think he was moving too much before he threw that one. That was very well taken down by Forbert, though. Forbert, huge response. Presso just goes back up and gets it. It is going back and forth. And that is going to be a timeout. That particular grab D brought to you by Friction Gloves and the rest of our sponsors.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. Ultimate.tv.
We are coming back. As you can see, standing over the disc, surveying his kingdom, Presso. He's been so central to so much action for BoD.
We're dangerously nearing the half, be it the time cap or the score. Heidees were kind of close to actually taking the half 8-5, but BoD managed to get the disc back, and now they tap it back into play.
Beautiful break down the line. Unfortunately bobbled. Gardillo picking it up and taking off. You've got a feeder. Or Jakob's going to call that one back on a foul. I think Jakob could maybe holster some of these looks and wait for the cut to mature back into an under, because he's so effective at getting the disc either in an up-rushing position or off the dump. If he could just look for a continuation rather than a finishing blow, I think it would really help Heidees win this upwind situation. Jakob spreads it. That is taken with some aggression and confidence. Exactly what you want to see by Shaq. And brilliant dump cutting by Jakob. Incredibly difficult to contain, and Presso is one of the better players at locking people down. Beha gets just in front of his defender, looks to float that one down. Does so. Shaq has Gardillo, says no. Forgive me, not St. Cyr. Kubik is really doing a good job on Gardillo. Is there? We see Jakob on the front of the end zone with the break. Somehow gets it off, but I don't think any of us expected it, least of all Shaq. So Gillis is going to take their time, walk up to it. A smooth flick. Beautifully done. And that one all the way down into middle to St. Cyr, who just keeps getting free on those unders. Please just pop it and then wait for St. Cyr to make another cut. Well, that'll probably tire her out pretty quickly as Gillis. Huge bid from Jakob, but it comes up empty. On the other side, Prescott Gagnon keeping her composure. That's not an easy thing to do when somebody bids like that. The amount of times you see a big bid in the Phantom D as they bobble it. Prescott Gagnon staying strong.
So as the game advisors help us from the sideline with the hand signals, BoD is ready to offer the disc for the tap-in.
Gillis, the Presso directing traffic downfield before getting it to Bechstedt. Bechstedt has Presso, decides against it. There's another call, I believe a pick.
I think it's a foul on the mark, as the Heidees mark gets brushed on her nose with the disc. But it's okay, a doctor is on the field, and it is none other than Jakob.
Wow, see, that's one of the benefits of playing this level. Huge hand block! You're gonna need a doctor after a scalding like that. Beautiful shot. Taken well by Brandt. Brandt back in the middle and around again. Fights her main. Martin. And it's the middle. Gardillo. Big sweeping around, but the wind pushes it down before it makes its way to Jakob. And you really have to be aware of that, exposing too much of either side of the disc to these blustery conditions. This point starting to drag on, and it may define the game. If Heidees score it, I gotta believe they're taking this whole match. BoD need this to stay competitive. Gillis back into the middle. Waiting there for him was Varvat. Further down the line, quick pop action. This is brilliant stuff. Press Soul, loads up, locked, and Sincere!
And regardless of the scoring and assisting person, I'm going to award this point to Kubik because she did an excellent job shutting down Gordillo on that last Heidi's offensive effort. And that is something that really slowed Heidi's down and gave them a lot less options, allowing other players to put on extra pressure and finally getting BoD to get the disc back and stay in the first half by putting another one on the scoreboard.
So we're going to have another look. Vervat sets that into the middle. And if I was going to be handing out praise for that point, I'd like to hand some out to Bechstedt because that's my move. I love that move. Catch it on the under, the quick pop. It keeps the flow going, allows Presso to get into that power position and hit a streaking St. Cyr. I was speaking to the captain of BoD before this game. She said one of the points that really gives them confidence is the strength of their women. So when you're able to see people like Kubak shutting down people we're more familiar with like Ardillo, it is incredibly impressive. But I don't know if they were prepared for just how damn dangerous and powerful some of these Heidees women are on the offensive end. They're making them work.
As a European player, it is always really fun for me to watch matchups between European teams and teams from third countries, so to speak, not Europe, because you have played against European teams. You know how you match up against specific players. And to see those players match up against other players from third countries just gives you a good idea, even though you're not playing in the event yourself.
As Reinhardt picks it up, and does he shoot immediately? Well, Mock makes the cut. Reinhardt sends the package, and it's collected comfortably.
Delivered with a bow. Lovely stuff. There is a stoppage. I think a travel will be called by the BoD defender. Very hard to tell if that had any effect on the throw, but in fairness, we were talking about this the other time as well. Very few travels actually make a big difference on the outcome of the play. No, Lorcan grins disagreeingly.
Hearty disagree. If you travel on a huck, then that travel helped you get the huck up. It helped you manage the power. If you can't keep a stable base and still use the power to generate a shot like that, that travel assisted the huck. It's not just dragging your foot half a foot so you can get around on a break. Incorrect. If you travel on a throw, could you have made that throw of the same quality without traveling? I don't think so. Reinhardt doesn't travel on that one, and it is a fantastic quality throw back into the middle of the pitch. So here come Heidees one more time. Stowe, Reinhardt shoots. This time it's Mock. Underneath it, the big defensive presence of Lepagnol, but all he can do is watch in vain as the Germans take half, 8-6.
Just like I was going to say, I think Reinhardt can do it without a travel just as good as with one, and he proved so about a few passes later. Heidees take the half in a big fashion, finishing off with a huge huck that is on the money. 60 minutes into this game, we will have a couple of minutes of a break. Lorcan, I'll hear you on the other side.
See you then.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, UltimateTV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finny, he's done it.
Welcome back to the action zone. Flavortown, business country, sunny, sunny Limerick. We are here in the Mixed Masters Power Pools. We are watching Heidees from Germany.
Heidelberg, Germany,
Heidelberg,
more specifically, yes.
Taking on BoD from Canada, or actually technically not from Canada, from Quebec, which I've been led to believe is a different country. From Montreal in the nation of Quebec.
Hence the geography lesson continues as the first pull of the second half goes up from BoD.
Reinhard is underneath the disc and immediately fakes the huck. I think everybody here thought it was going to go. Greasy back to Reinhard. Just about corrals that one. You can see Lepagnol is just standing off him straight up mark, and it works to their advantage. Tearing off down the field, that is David Tremblay. Lepagnol. He has been at the center of so much, and he calls a timeout immediately, recognizing how critical this possession is and how it could really change this whole game for them.
My French is not so good, but pardon my French, the word Lepagnol said before, right after calling that timeout, I don't think it was appropriate for all audiences.
Well, that's one of the rare moments where we are quite happy for the win. I gotta tell you, I love that call by Lepagnol. I absolutely love that call by him, because in a lot of those situations, you get the turn, you go to pick it up to play a quick game, and you realize, crap, nobody else is on the same page as me. You let the stall get up to 8, and then you put up some very speculative at best huck. Lepagnol doesn't. He takes that frustration, he calls the timeout, and yes, he let it out, but as we take another look at that defense by Lepagnol, standing so far off him, doesn't want the huck. If you're going to get it, throw it around me. Really smart, really worked to his advantage. But I want to say how much I respect that move by Lepagnol. Yes, he swore, but you can't keep anger inside. You have to release it. I feel very strongly that anger is a lot like energy. You can't destroy it, you can only transform it. So he let some of it go, transformed it into words, and then he walked away so that he wouldn't pass any of it on to anyone else in his team. He just took it himself, threw it away, regenerated it, and came back. Look, you're gonna get frustrated, you're gonna get worked up, and if you are, do you want to yell at people or do you want to go just be mad on your own in the corner? I prefer the mad on your own in the corner approach.
I feel you, Lorcan, but I think still this could be the so-called turnout, meaning a timeout resulting in a turnover, as the wind appears in much stronger gusts than before the timeout was called.
So here comes Lepagnol. He floats one big, high, arcing, gets it to the intended receiver in the end. That's Tremblay. Tremblay back along as Presso. He floats another one high up in the air. That is taken down by Mock. Mock has built himself up quite the stat sheet. Back, and that's in tow. Stowe launches one all the way down. It's not got enough float on it.
You can feel that a lot of these players, both of these teams are trying to use their female receivers downfield, but unfortunately so far they haven't been connecting too much, and that is probably just due to the wind, who just picks up the discs, pushes them all the way over the head of the intended receivers. So far they have done a much better job connecting on them on the shorter passes.
So Lepagnol picking up the disc. It's marked by Vieira. So a bit of a size mismatch, but Vieira, I would say, has the edge on movement. So I think they're putting him on him just to try and stop him getting on the dumps. Lepagnol launches one all the way downfield. He has Kublik. Oh, that's brilliantly taken down. Rising above everybody else was Timmins. Timmins pops it along, gets it back, and now it is in the hands of Benyak, who
very unfortunate wobble. That was a great gainer. Lepagnol knew that he didn't have much, puts up that deep huck, which is saved by probably not who the intended receiver was, but they give it right back to Heidees, and the wind has calmed down again.
Stowe down the line to Vieira. Vieira. He has Stowe again back in the middle, gets him on the second ask. Mock. It was a nice little flick by Stowe, plenty of spin, not going to let the wind affect that one. Mock floats that up. Really well read, but better intercepted. Melanie Roy knocks it down. Lepagnol gets that in the power position. Good coverage by Vieira to not let that off. There's the high release backhand, and Vieira tries to steal through. Really confidently taken down by Tremblay. Tremblay has options out to the side in the form of Timmins. Timmins launches it, hangs it, it's waiting, it's wandering, it's knocked away. Big time defense by Stowe.
Or Stowe, the American, is it? I believe he is the American pickup on the Heidees team. But who knows? Maybe he has already made his name a bit more German as we see his excellent defense last second in the end zone.
Reinhardt launches another one. It's screaming, it's floating, it's waiting, it's always going away. Unfortunately, Shaq couldn't close that distance.
Story of this game, so many open female receivers downfield, but the disc somehow always gets lost on the way somehow.
So once again, BoD looking to open the half with a break. It would be a serious statement of intent of where they intend to go next. Roy gets the quick pop to Lepagnol. There's a call for a pick downfield.
BoD keep pushing for the score. We know that they want the big hook. They don't take it this time. Try to go short. Not a bad idea so far.
Lepagnol to Kubik. Kubik pops it out to the sideline. Tremblay, he tries to arc that one around, trying to hit Roy, but sniffed out by Stowe to get his second block of this point. Reinhardt, maybe thinking of something special, goes with the rather understated flick. That's another pick downfield.
But we do have a player in the end zone with a little bit of separation. On the other hand, I think if Timmins put his body on the line, he would be there on time to get the D.
We will see. Tremblay marking Reinhardt. Reinhardt immediately stepping around with a beautiful break. Very nicely done to Shaq. Shaq. There's Stowe. Stowe into the middle. They're waiting, looking. Lots of pressure being put on Oberlander, but Oberlander, oh, it's getting high, and eventually she gets it to Reinhardt, but there's the call for the stall out, which I was waiting for, if I'm honest with you, Rachel.
An incredible throw into the traffic. A nice zippy forehand, and it seems like it will be clearly contested. That stall out right in the middle on Oberlander.
Couple of people with their perspectives. It is, I would say at this point, a well-known crux of a lot of people that they stall. You could stall as patiently as you want, up to 8, but everybody says 9-10.
I always hope that after the game I get to re-watch this and count the seconds, but somehow you can still end up with 2 different opinions.
Well, time is not constant. It is a flat circle. As we see Lepagnol.
That was a spectacular break under the hand of Mock. Followed up by another one, the around was there, but just a bit too wobbly.
I like the way Mock turned around on that break throw, making sure, was this for real? Did he really break me? Where?
Reinhardt gets it down the line into the hands of Igresi. Igresi. Uncontested foul. Believe on the mark, regardless of where it was, that's going to come back in on 0, so a full 10 for Igresi. Lepagnol's trying to shut down Mock. He's doing a very good job. Forces Igresi to look elsewhere. Reinhardt! And it drops out of the air just in time. Tremblay and Lepagnol doing fantastic work on the 2 talismanic forces for this Heidees side.
Good decision from Heidees to try to put it in the end zone on the high stall rather than going for the difficult upwind dump. This way they have BoD at least in the coffin corner, and if they can apply more pressure, they will have a short field to work with.
Lepagnol calls for a cut from the far side.
Reinhardt bids with everything he has, but comes up empty. Instead, it finds it across to Beniak.
Beniak into the middle. That's Timmins. It's going to come back.
Timmins had 2 receivers striking deep, both male and female, for him to choose from, but they will be called back as the game was stopped right after he caught the disc.
So instead, it finds its way back to Beniak. Beniak to Tremblay. Tremblay couldn't keep that up for Timmins. Much like a bad mafioso, it eats dirt.
And I believe this is a short field for Heidees to work with. This would be an important upwind hold.
Mock, Reinhardt.
You can see Mott calling for it. I know you have that inside flick break. Give it to me. Across to Shaq. Shaq, front of the end zone. Big offensive pressure being applied by Kubik, but Shaq just stays calm, stays patient to Mock, who pops it over the top to Reinhardt. Reinhardt front of the end zone and pops it over himself, and well taken in by a Greasy. That was far from a certain thing.
That was an interesting decision. I think he had the throw. I think he knew what he was doing, but it looked very tight on the execution.
Reinhardt gives everything on every side of the disc, and it's plays like that and focus like that, commitment like that, I should really say. There's a reason why they took away this massive point. Much like the point just before half, so many turnovers. Game really hanging in the balance for the team who could secure the score. And both times, Heidees had the luxury of going downfield.
Maybe Reinhardt was just copying Mock on that high release.
Anything you can do, I can do slightly worse.
Well, with 3 assists just from this game, I believe he's not going anywhere from the top of the table.
Does that put him up to 12 assists in total so far this tournament?
200,
I think so.
is it?
It's going to keep on climbing. So we have just over 20 minutes left in this matchup. 9-6 to Heidees. Plenty of time for BoD to get back into it. But these Quebecois are going to have to work down the pitch and get an early score to keep the pressure on. Gillis. Presso. Lovely cut downfield, but Presso overshoots ever so slightly. And Prescott Gagnon watches it sail by. And there, Jakob wastes no time, but neither does Gillis, stepping through and knocking it away. Screams echo across this sideline as Presso picks it up from Gillis, gets it to the sideline. That's Delil. Delil, one of the stronger performers. Great effort by Gillis, keeping that alive. Or Presso, sorry. Scoops it off the ground. It was also important he kept his body in bounds as he gets back into the middle to Gillis. This is good, working it around. Much better stuff. Beshat into the middle. That's Carlton. Carlton. Soft count has to be getting higher. Eventually gets it off. Quick swings. This is better by BoD. They're not letting the disc stagnate. Prescott Gagnon has Gillis behind. Doesn't want it, wants the big arcing shot. She wants it all. She wants it now. Unfortunate.
Again, I would like to point out great defensive effort by Loerscheid, doing a good job on Gillis, really taking away some of the dump options, forcing these big throws that were not quite defended downfield, but luckily for Heidees, resulted in a drop. Fun fact on the Heidees team right now, on their defensive line, we have 2 doctors. It's not just Jakob, but also Schweizer Martin, Miriam.
Shows you the intelligence that goes into the strategy of this team as well as their physical prowess. Brilliant dump defense. The partnership of Delil and Presso shutting down the options, and Presso shoots to the end zone. That's going to be called out of bounds.
A couple of Finnies on these teams, aren't they? Generally, the Masters team do a much better job than the other tournaments, than other teams in other tournaments, keeping the 3-meter line. But currently, from our viewing point, we do have a bit of obstructing happening from the players on the sideline.
Works it down the sideline. That's just about taken in by Jakob. Jakob winds up. Huge bid by Presso. Can't stop it going. And it is taken down. That was not easy by Leibold, but Leibold stayed strong.
Good read from Leibold. Gordillo now with the disc. Jakob has it again.
Sorry, that was Hess who then passed it to Leibold. Gave it to Jakob. Gordillo goes to her knees to pick it back up. And it's back to Jakob. Jakob's just waiting for a cut to become more available. Eventually finds one on the far sideline.
And Heidi's dangerously close to getting another break on the scoreboard.
Presso says no! Shutting that one down and then launching it. That's a smooth leading pass to Delil. She's on an island right now. But along in a rowboat comes Gagnon. Gagnon back to Gillis. Gillis, he looks, he thinks, he decides he doesn't want the deep shot to Gay. Instead takes the easier under to Beckstadt. Stadt back into the middle. Waiting there was Gagnon. Gagnon has Gillis. Struggling against Hess to get free. Prechot, beautiful lead into the power position. He screams, he points, somebody give me an option deep. Finds it in Gay, but doesn't want that one. Gillis, this is nice, quick fire play. Really smart stuff by BoD. Beckstadt gets it back just about the Gagnon. It's Prescott Gagnon. Floats it around, taken in by Gay. This is nice, dump, swinging, not forcing too much, cutting for each other. Gillis goes. And that one just a little too far in front of him. I think Gay put the wrong edge on that disc.
I think this point is getting quite long from some of these players on the field. Not everyone has the endurance to really be ready for points with lots of wind and lots of turnovers. Some of them looking quite tired, not as many cuts. It's only some of them that keep running. And now it's about who can last longer.
So Jakob started off with it. Gets it back now in the middle of the pitch. Wastes no time launching that one. Hess is underneath it. He's trying to measure it. He does so magnificently. Hunts it down and secures. Now he launches one of his own. Looking, but only finding the waiting form of Gay. Gay to Prescott Gagnon. Gagnon, middle of the pitch. Gets it off to Carlton. Carlton sends it along to Gillis. Gillis on the nearer sideline. Hess in his face. Gillis stepping back as if to load up for something big. Goes with the nice comfortable pass to Prechot instead. Prechot back across. Into the hands of Carlton. Carlton down the line. Really well taken in by Beckstadt. Beckstadt really making her presence known more and more as this game progresses. As that one is going to be stopped and sent back. Foul. That's the old foul call, I believe, unless I've...
That is, I believe it is an offensive foul, as Gordillo seems a little shattered on the mark, which just means that we will increase the stall count slightly. And it will come in on 3.
So Rose Carlton. Carlton looking. Finds Prescott Gagnon in the middle. Prescott Gagnon down the line. Well taken in. And again, BoD finding a lot of their success when they work through their women. Gay bobbles but collects. Sends it back out, and that was just a bit too difficult to corral. Dalil tried to catch that behind her.
Behind her? I don't know how she did that. It was very close, but Jakob wastes no time.
He loves sending that shot deep to Hess. This time the leading pass. Oh, what a catch! The wind did everything it could to stop that play, but it doesn't matter. They take it in for the score.
Loa Scheid, 34 years of age, 181 centimeters tall. He lives in Heidelberg, a Heidelberg native. He is a defensive cutter, but he will score if asked. That was a great grab between 2 fingers, I believe. He has club experience from Bremen, Deine Mutter, from 2017 to 21, and he is a member of the National Spirit Committee of Germany.
Loa Scheid being very understanding, saying even Germans have difficulty pronouncing his name, and he's open to new attempts. So if I may humbly put forward Loa Scheid, which is what we call him if his name was in Irish with those 2 fadas. That's what we call accent aigus in Irish. Fada literally translates to hat, and it means the elongation of the vowel, so it would be Loa Scheid.
Oh, I thought you were going to go with Lorkenscheid.
Hey! Brilliant grab. So much pressure. You could see Hess, he released it and just went, I can't believe I've done this. But it worked out in the end.
It seems like the German players are coming in with the clear instructions. If you're going upwind and you're on defense, just make sure you get as close to the end zone as possible and hope for the best.
Especially if your name is Hess and Jakob just got the disc in a power position.
So that's another break for Heidees, increasing their lead by 4, going up 10-6 over BoD Canada. If you have just joined, I think this could still be a tight game as BoD show a lot of grit, trying to stay in this game and even score some breaks. Here they are with another offensive point.
Vavroch down the line to Roy. Roy floats a big one up, and somehow Prechot comes down with it. Tremblay wanted the quick pop back, holsters it, gets it to Lepagnol. Lepagnol, Timmins, Sorry, Timmins, of course, on the offense. Looks a little bit like Presso. That was an incredible grab by Vavroche. Vavroche to Roy. Roy gets it back to Lepagnol. Lepagnol searching, surveying, and then puts the soft, delicate one to Timmins, and that might be their first upwin.
That is correct. In fairness to them, there was a little less wind than in the other points. Nonetheless, it's still important to put it in, just like the other ones. Of course, Timmins, with his height advantage, makes it that much easier. First with that huge grab, getting high to collect the disc in the group of players, and then eventually getting the score.
So we're going to have another look at this final shot. That's Roy with the disc. Melanie gets back to Lepagnol. Lepagnol. And a nice little quick putt. From that angle, you can't see the incredible work Timmins was doing, and there's a reason that he gets 2 meters free in the end zone in the front corner. And that's because he was just about everywhere else on the pitch at some point, knackering out his defender.
And that is corresponding to the information he has given us on what to look for when he is on the pitch. He said long throws, comma, breaks, and then 3 dots.
Well, there is anything as tantalizing as an ellipsis. It could mean anything. And in this case, it means success. And BoD needed that score. They really did. After giving up another break, they had to make sure they could get the up window and keep the pressure on. So now can they capitalize and close the gap with a downwind break? Huge pull in terms of height. In terms of distance, it's basically a brick. Reinhardt to Mock. Mock straight through the middle to Stowe. Stowe. I love his flick fakes. It really moved the defense. A properly convincing fake. As there's a call for a pick downfield. Just once again, I want to share our appreciation for clear hand signals being used by players. It is incredibly helpful for us. And also our appreciation for the volunteers. If you get a chance, please thank a volunteer. As Reinhardt with the disc floats it out. That's the far sideline and waiting for it.
The Canadians really afraid of the potential hucks from Heidees, putting on a straight mark and a poach into the open side.
And Shaq and Igressi work together to get it to Reinhardt. You'd understand why they'd be afraid of those deep shots with Reinhardt putting up so many of them so successfully. Beautiful, sneaky little break inside. Mock sends it right back. Reinhardt leading pass again to Stowe. Stowe looks around. And across. Oh, Timmins almost jumped through and got the block. Not quite in time. And that one's going to be tough for Reinhardt. He jumps and you could see him begging with gravity to give him 1 more inch. But gravity is a cruel mistress and sends it into the dirt instead. Lepagnol centers it into the middle. And there's Prechaud. Prechaud has Timmins. Timmins. BoD starting to load up these lines low and deep players. Timmins looks for the shot to Lepagnol. It might be perfect. It is! Huge grab.
Huge grab. And honestly, I started expecting it about 5 seconds ago, really. That was an important turnover for BoD, and I am so glad that didn't waste it, and they just went for it. Full speed, full swing. I hope we get that on the replay.
So you can see Lepagnol being helped back to his feet. In the Masters division, you only have so many layouts left in your body. You want to hold on to them, obviously, unless you're Reinhardt, who just seems to be in a personal war against his own internal organs. As this is a big arcing shot, really well done all the way around. And there, Lepagnol gobbling it up. As there is another timeout called, with BoD getting a crucial break to close the gap to 10-8. We will be back after these messages from our sponsors. And welcome back to this power pool game between Heidees of Heidelberg, Germany and BoD of Montreal, Quebec. Two proud nations with long and deep histories battling it out here on the Limerick fields. It is beautiful to see. BoD in somewhat of an ascendancy after going 10-6 down, coming out of half, have gotten the offensive hold, upwind and a break. So here is a big point. Can they get an upwind break for the first time in this game and really put the pressure on the Germans? Nice little play back to Reinhard. Huge shot all the way down. He's got Mock. It's his favorite target. And that one just bouncing out of his outstretched hands.
Just out of reach, and we see Mock kind of pulling on his spans that might have held him down to extend the stride for the last extension. Nonetheless, love to see the matchup of Reinhard and Timmins. It's been here all game long, and it could be the decisive factor in the rest of the points.
Reinhard against Timmins is quite interesting. We've seen Presso give it a go, Tremblay give it a go, and now Timmins seems to be having the most success. As much success as you can have dealing with a dynamo like Reinhard. But right now it is all about that BoD. They've put the work in. Can they reap the rewards? That one's saved by St. Cyr.
Lots of poachy D from Heidees. I'm surprised that a pick is even allowed in this situation. I saw lots of switches, with some players staying in the back and others defending the open side in the front.
So let's see what BoD can do. Gillis, not Gillet. Robert Gillis with the disc.
There seems to be quite a discussion
between Shaq and St. Cyr for the most part. Two women have really put their stamp on this game for their respective teams.
Shaq doing lots of handling for Heidees. I believe she's also one of the captains.
And then St. Cyr, who has so frequently been the initiation cutter, and has finished off several plays in the end zone for BoD. So Gillis gets the quick bop back to Vervat. Mock just pulling him back on the travel. Vervat tapping the ground. That is not required. Timmins down the line to Roy. Roy looking, gets it back to Gillis. And BoD looking to take their time, working it down the pitch. Timmins with it. They don't want to force anything. This is a crucial point. Is that going for the uprushing handler pop, but sniffed out and snuffed out by the Heidees defense. That's Beha.
Incredible awareness. I didn't even see that pass coming.
It's incredible awareness to take Beha off the D-line and throw him onto this O-line for this big time point for Heidees. Shaq going horizontal to collect that disc. There's Reinhardt behind her, hits him again. Reinhardt doesn't want the shot to Stowe, instead into the middle to Mock. Mock bobbles but collects. Quick reflexes on display, leading past the Reinhardt. Reinhardt looks for the launch and sends it to Beha for the score.
That's another one for the scoreboard for Heidees. They keep the point difference at 3. An impressive piece of offense. The Canadians unable to keep up with the quick upline cuts and quick sideways movement of the Germans. Only less than 5 minutes left in this Mixed Masters power pool game. Do you think Lorcan BoD have a chance to come back?
No, it's over. Look at that grab by Shaq. And then Reinhardt. Mock, just, maybe playing a little bit of a mockery with his opponents. And there's the quick pop and continuation shot to the end zone.
It is quite discouraging. Heidees do look like they can keep running for days.
No, I absolutely believe BoD are still in the chance of this game. They are, for all intents and purposes, they're one upwind break down. And we've seen them get that before, so we know they can do it again. Secure this, get the break, and then you're in a power position to close out this game going downwind. I mean, really they need 2 upwind breaks to win the game, but let's just take it 1 point at a time. How do you eat an elephant?
But they might not be able to do it without your support. Please join us in the chat at the WFDF YouTube channel as BoD look for a break side throw, and they get it off.
Prescott Gagnon shoots to the end zone. There's Float. There's Gardillo, and she stops the bidding form of Kubik.
Excellent effort from Kubik, trying to get her hand in there, but Gardillo denies. Here is the little confusion from Battaglia, who was not having many options. And here's the high flick continuation into the end zone.
Kubik was ready to put it all on the line, and Gardillo went, you know what, no dramatics. Down. As here come Heidees wanting to seal this game. That's a bit too floaty. Almost magnificent from Jakob pulling that one down, but bounces out of his grip.
Battaglia to pick up.
Battaglia. Lots of movement. Gets it to Presso in the middle of the pitch. I'm going to have to agree, it did seem like he shoved Hess off. Which I don't mind so much of, as long as, you know, immediately retracts, and that's the high-spirited nature of this game we've come to expect from these wonderful visiting Montrealans. Oh, and Battaglia sends it all the way down. Presso tries to get horizontal, but in the end, he gets nothing.
But that is okay, because Heidees have the whole field in front of them and plenty of chances to get the disc back.
But you only have 2 elbows, and Presso might have cost himself one of his there.
Heidees with a pretty common horizontal setup. Or is it 3 players that I'm seeing downfield and 4 in handling?
I think it's a 3-4
Oh, no.
vert.
Yeah, it is. We just had 1 player.
Because of the injury, they had to wait for the tap back in before they could move. Understandable.
Jakob.
Beautiful inside break to Hess. Hess with the disc. He has Jakob going down the line, decides against it. Gets it to Gardillo back in the middle of the pitch. Gardillo floats it along. Waiting there for it was Herman. Herman back to Gardillo. Gardillo stepping back into the handler position here in the crucial closing moments of the game. Herman looking, swings it across. And then goes down the line. Instead, it's back into the middle to Gardillo. Rostoischer to Gardillo. Gardillo across to Schweitzer. Schweitzer looks to get it back into the middle. And this is
good defense by Guay on Jakob. He is really not getting anywhere near the disc.
Hess thinks about sending it. Eventually they get it to Jakob, but it took a big cut for him to get free of the interests of Gay. Jakob spreads it back into the middle. Rochester, and all she's doing is standing there and swinging it from each side. I couldn't love that offense more. Cook tries it, it's high, it's floaty, it's everything BoD want, but it's everything Jakob can get. Takes it down. The wind is starting to bluster again, picking up. But the ever-present, ever-reliable force of Rostoischer is just anchoring this offense as Jakob launches it all the way, and her man might have just ended this game.
Incredible effort by Jakob. He got very tired trying to tire out his defender, but ended up getting the disc after all, and you could see that he was not ready to do more. He was just ready for that one last throw. It was not a thing of beauty, unfortunately, but it worked nonetheless. Great effort from Heidees for pushing it upwind. Such hard work out of all these players, including the defenders in fairness. But Heidees do get the other break and go up 12-8. And at the 100th minute of this game, there is very little space for the Canadians to come back.
So we'll have another look at this shot. It might not have been pretty, but it certainly got the job done. I mean, I wouldn't kick it out of bed for cutting the G's. Herman with the score. I, once again, want to just bring a bit more attention back to Sophie Rostoischer. It's not going to show up on the stat sheet unfairly, but she was everything about that offensive possession. Sitting in that axis position, never letting the disc stagnate with her. Gets it, open swing. Gets it, open swing. Gets it on the sideline, open down the line to set Jakob up in power position. She was the oil that made those gears turn for that possession.
Heidees women really working so hard in that last point. It was Rostoischer, it was Köke, it was Gardillo. All of them doing a massive amount of work, handling before their male teammates got open in the right positions for that final score. And here are Bach with a sidestep.
And it's a huge roar from the sideline as they trap BoD in their own end zone, trying to exert some pressure. Gillis hoping to relieve it. Gets it to Timmins. Timmins looks around. And this is either a poachy look or slightly zonal. Whatever it was, you can call it successful. And they're immediately picking it up and looking to get the winning score. I believe that works to Hess from Brandt. There's going to be a call about whether or not he was in.
And I would be surprised if BoD let this one go, since it would end this game with Heidees on the winning end.
As we're going to have another look. The poachy defense and extra pressure, all coming from the pull, just locked BoD into a tough situation they couldn't get out of. Here's another look. Does he toe the line? I think that leg is down. I think he might have been out.
So the teams will call in a game advisor to see if there was a better perspective from the sideline. Of course, the final decision will rest with them. One more replay for your convenience.
So make up your own mind here. Brandt scoops. Hess collects. No way. I'm sorry. I should probably be more impartial, but just I don't think that was it.
It's okay. Fans in the chat don't really care about whether that was in or out. They're just saying it's a pleasure to see International Ultimate.
Well, isn't it just? And it's a pleasure to be here with you, Rachel, and a pleasure to be here in Limerick. Sunny, Sunny Limerick. It's a title, not a promise. For this wonderful World Masters Ultimate Club Championships 2022. And we have so much action left to bring you. Not just today, but all week. Coming up today, though, in the last game on either side, we have on one end, it's pitch 2, the other stream, Club Comunidad El Oso, coming out of Colombia versus Birds of Paradise, who I believe are from Singapore. And then Masters Women here on pitch 3 is going to be Berta from Canada taking on Soar from USA, who have probably my favorite name to say.
And in the meantime, it seems like the players have agreed on the pitch to send the disc back. Heidees will remain possession, just shy of the end zone. Very close to another break. The disc gets tapped in.
So here comes Brandt. And will he go for the exact same look again? No, this time gets Gardillo. Back to Brandt. Brandt had to look Gardillo off on the second return. Instead goes for the much more difficult break to seal the game with Beha.
Wonderful step around, just what the Heidees have been doing all game long. They do seem to be using their men quite a bit in the end zone, but it has been their women who stepped up when it was necessary, using them in the handling space as well as downfield, and 100% shutting down their opponents on defense. Heidees take the game 14-13, 13-8.
13-8. Except it's not over. Because why would we leave you wanting more when we can just give it to you? 13-8 the current score. BoD, ambitious perhaps, but this is the land of dreamers. This is the land of saints and scholars. If there was ever a place for the irregular to occur, it is here. The Emerald Isle's mysterious Shannon shore, Limerick City, where the dreamers come big when the disappointment tends to follow. As BoD, 5 points up, or 5 points down, I should say, and looking to fight back into this game. Heidi's hoping to seal it.
Lorcan, how about we take this time instead to thank some of our sponsors?
That's a great shout, because we couldn't play this game without Discraft, providing the top quality discs for the community. And of course, VC outfitting the world's best Ultimate players since 1998. Maybe not the best in skill, but certainly the best in style. And you want style, you want to use friction gloves. Batagalia centers that one to Gillis. Gillis thinks about the deep shot. Strange to see Heidi's busting out the zone so late in the game, getting it to Timmins on the near sideline. Timmins, Batagalia, back into the middle. Prescott Gagnon resets it back out to the form of Beckstedt. Beckstedt into Gillis. Gillis to Timmins. Timmins to Battaglia. Battaglia to Prescott Gagnon. Prescott Gagnon all the way back to Beckstedt. Beckstedt all the way across again. That's Vervat. Gillis. Gillis sends it. Battaglia. Battaglia. He's got Vervat screaming, streaking, scoring.
Big lefty backhand into the end zone, but with an offensive hold, slicing through the Heidees defense quickly, precisely, and with zest. But staying in the game, Heidi's now forced to hold the disc and hold the point until the end. It is a potential game point for them, and they will be going downwind.
You'd have to back Heidees, but first of all, let's enjoy another look at this phenomenal offense. Vervat passes, jogs, sets the trap. Oh, my defender is complacent. Well, let me burn him to the open side for the score.
And he celebrates with a roar. And I'm gonna take another bit of your time to thank our volunteers. We have about 120 of them at this event. They're doing an excellent job. Whoop whoop. Thank you very much. They're from 20 different countries from all around the world, a real international pot here in Limerick. Thank you very much one more time. Keep doing what you're doing. It wouldn't be possible without you.
We love you, volunteers. We are so grateful for everything you're doing. So if you see a volunteer, a member of Team Orange making their way around the campus over this week, please remember, go and thank them. Thank them in the chat. And also thank you to the chat for joining us as this poll makes it to about halfway. I'm not sure if it's going to be Mock or if it's going to be Schweitzer who picks it up. Well, in either case, it winds up in the hands of Jana Wagner-Kruse. Wagner-Kruse, that one's bobbling, floating, wobbling, wandering into the ground. So Vervat under the disc and maybe a little bit of tension. We await to find out. The screams from Chilio. I always enjoy that irony. Vavroch sends it across to Tremblay. Tremblay sends it back into the middle. It's making its way around. It's with Melanie Roy now. Melanie Roy looks and sends on the break to Dumont Kerry. Kerry tries to send it down the line, but couldn't quite get it there. But seeing some success playing through primarily their women.
But getting dangerously close to that break that they so much need if they want to still make this a tight game. But Heidees have the disc back, and they will center it with a wide swing, or not.
Nice touch by Vervat. That would have been collected by Stowe, I believe, on the other end if Vervat hadn't put the effort in to get up and knock it down. Or Perton, sorry. That goes back to Tremblay. Tremblay. Pondering.
Players find the original position from the moment of the pick.
So Tremblay looking to lead his team into another upwind. Finds it in the form of Kerry. Kerry, they get it back. It's Vavroch. Vavroch, or Wavroch, as she denies her Slavic heritage, but that one is bouncing out of Roy's hands. Are they going to send it? Mock thinks about it again. Instead going for the big looping arcing pass, searching for Reinhardt. Reinhardt's trying to read it. He collects it, toes the line perfectly as well. He's well in. And then Ton burns deep, but decides against it. Back into the middle. Huge bid by Vervat, but getting nothing for his efforts. And this is quick. Sterling play by the Heidees, looking for Mock for the score. And if he toes the line successfully, I believe he did after Wagner-Kruse.
This time it seems like none of the players have had a good perspective on whether the receiver kept his feet in.
So let's see. That's Jana Wagner-Kruse, number 13, who threw the around backhand. And there's a little bit of discussion. They call for the game advisor, as we're going to have a little bit of a review ourselves. You can see getting the disc across very nicely to Agrisi. Agrisi gets it to Wagner-Kruse, and here is the important moment. I think you got to give it to him. And they have. So that should be that. 14-9 in the end to Heidelberg. Congratulations to the club team. from Germany in this victory over BoD.
Very anticlimactic, but in fairness, well deserved.
Brilliant grab to end the game on. Of course, the discussion kind of takes a little bit of the air out of the moment, but let's not overlook how fantastic a grab that was, or how fantastic a show we still have to come in the last time slot of the day. 5 o'clock here on this pitch. We have Berta from Canada taking on Soar from America. And on the opposite pitch, Club Comunidad El Oso taking on Birds of Paradise. Quite the international flair happening all over these Irish fields. And Irish eyes are smiling. We hope yours are at home as well. It has been a pleasure to have you join us for this match. Join us in the chat. And I hope we will see you at 5 o'clock. I have been Lorcan Murray.
And I was Rachel Dushnerova.
And we'll see you next time.
Fáilte.tv.